And this morning, I'd just like to follow up on some of the issues, many of which we've already discussed. But first, it has come to my attention that a recent executive order has led to the potential termination of USDA's liaisons to our 1890 land grant institutions like Fort Valley State University in Fort Valley, Georgia. There is strong bipartisan support for these institutions. They've done an incredible job, often doing so much for so many with so very little for such a long time that it's lost on people, the work that these institutions every day. I'm deeply concerned about this and the actions to shut out their voices at USDA. Ms. Rollins, if you are confirmed, will you commit to supporting our 1890 institutions?
Sir, I believe Prairie View A&M is one of those 1890 institutions, which I'm very familiar with and partnered as a student at Texas A&M and in the last administration worked with. I am not familiar with exactly what you're speaking of, but my commitment to you is to find out and to continue a really important discussion and to learn more about the issue.
Well, the executive order could lead to the potential termination of USDA's liaisons to these 1890 institutions, which help them to navigate their relationship with the USDA. Can I have your commitment to protect those who serve these institutions at the USDA? Again,
sir, I would want to know more and understand more before I can make that commitment, but clearly those institutions are important. They are bipartisan supported, and you have my commitment to have a very robust dialogue at any moment, any time of day or night to ensure that we have all the data as we're making any decisions.
I appreciate that. I've had good relationships and good work, bipartisan work, supporting these institutions, and I hope you'll keep your eye on that issue.
I will.
Last year, I worked hard with my colleagues in a bipartisan manner to provide $21 billion to help farmers recover from natural disasters like Hurricane Helene. Farmers, as you know, do incredible work. It's a tough business. There's so much you don't control. The margins are narrow, and so I do everything I can to protect my growers in Georgia. I cannot overstate how critical it is for USDA to distribute this assistance, this disaster assistance to Georgia farmers as quickly as possible, but also as equitably as possible. If confirmed, briefly, because I want to get through these questions, how will you work to ensure disaster assistance is distributed both swiftly and equitably?
Yes, sir, thank you, and I'll try to answer quickly so we can go on. The day I got the call from President Trump, it was Saturday, November 23rd. We were in our motorhome traveling across the country to an Aggie football game. Within a few hours of accepting the nomination, I began to immediately pivot to how do we distribute this disaster and so important economic aid, working with a few of the senators on this committee. Clearly, I am not confirmed yet, so this is going to await my arrival. But in the meantime, sir, we've already announced the undersecretary who worked on this in the last Trump administration, who is already building the team who distributed these funds, so they know what they're doing. We're not reinventing the wheel.
Well, will you work with our state agriculture commissioner to ensure Georgia producers, including our foresters, have the support they need from USDA to get that assistance without having to jump through a bunch of bureaucratic hoops?
Of course.
And will you also commit to equitably getting that assistance to all eligible farmers, including those who've been historically left out of USDA assistance, often due to discrimination?
Sir, we will follow the law and ensure that that is the case.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
So let me move on to the next subject. Thanks so much. Fighting hunger has long been a part of my life's work, long before I was elected to the Senate. As you know, I'm a pastor, and the one miracle story that's in all the Gospels, all four, is the feeding of the 5,000.
That's right.
And so I constantly hear from Georgia farmers, Georgia families, about how their dollar just doesn't go as far at the grocery store as it used to. The average Georgian participating in SNAP, a food assistance program that provides critical nutrition aid to our most vulnerable families, has about $6.15 a day to spend on food. In your view, is $6.15 a day adequate to avoid Hunger for Georgia Families.
Sir, this is a supplemental program. I am just getting my arms around it. There is few that will be in my role, if confirmed, that have a passion for this more than I do. Serving those who are most in need, as you and I discussed in your office, is a driving force of my entire life. It almost sent me to seminary, but I ended up in public policy instead. So you have my wholehearted commitment to look and ensure that the people who need this the most are receiving it in the best way possible, but at the same time ensuring that all of the tax dollars that are spent on it are also spent in the best way possible.
One of the things, as these families struggle, one of the things that I'm concerned about are proposals to slash this critical assistance and create additional work verification red tape for families participating in these programs. Do you think creating more bureaucratic red tape for families will help them purchase nutritious food?
I think it's extremely important that we take a wholesale look at every one of these programs and ensure that they are serving the people that are needing the programs and that they are the safety net they're truly set out to be. Obviously, I do not like the words bureaucracy or red tape, but ensuring that we have set up the appropriate lifelines and the appropriate structure so that we can get these resources to the families that need them the most.
As we talk about work requirements, and I support work, I was raised by a father and a mother with commitment, who had a serious work ethic. But we want to help these families have a basic safety net. Most poor people are children. I think it's important to remember that. Most poor people are children. SNAP lifts children, seniors, veterans, and folks with disabilities out of poverty, and is proven to reduce health care costs and stimulate our local economies. If you're confirmed, I hope we can find ways to work together to ensure our most vulnerable families and our neighbors can afford groceries. I think, as someone, again, who preaches the parable of, not the parable, but the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000, I think it's the right thing to do, but I also think it's the smart thing to do.
Yes, sir. You have my commitment, and my friend Dr. Alveda King is here, and we have spoken of that multiples of times. So looking forward to working with everyone.
I'm her family's pastor.
Yes, sir. I'm very well aware. Thank you.